The transport ship landed on Caleria Prime with a soft thud that shook the entire village. Dust clouds rose from the landing pad as the massive engines powered down. Zara stepped off the ship, her tall frame casting a long shadow across the ground. Her scales gleamed purple and gold in the afternoon sun, marking her as a high-ranking warrior of the Calarian Empire. She had been away for 3 years fighting in the Outer Rim Wars. Now she was home, and everything looked smaller than she remembered. The mud houses seemed tiny compared to the massive starships she had called home. The village people looked soft and peaceful compared to the hardened soldiers she had fought beside. Zara's father, Commander Vex, waited for her at the edge of the landing pad. His old battle scars showed white against his dark green scales. He smiled as she approached, but she could see worry in his yellow eyes. "Welcome home, daughter," he said, embracing her. "You look well. The wars have made you stronger." "Thank you, father. It is good to be back." Zara looked around the village. "Everything seems so quiet here." "That is why you need to settle down," Vex said. "You have done your duty to the Empire. Now it is time to think about family." Zara felt her stomach drop. She knew that look in her father's eyes. "What do you mean?" "I have arranged a marriage for you," Vex said quietly. "To a good man who will make you happy." "Father, I am not ready for marriage. I am a warrior. My place is with the fleet. Your place is here, with family. The war is over, Zara. There is no more fighting to be done." Vex placed his large hand on her shoulder. "Trust me in this. I have chosen well." Zara wanted to argue, but she knew it was useless. In Calarian culture, family honor was everything. If her father had given his word, she would have to accept it. "Who is he?" she asked. "His name is Ben. He is a human from the agricultural colonies." Zara's eyes widened. "A human? Father, humans are weak. They are good for farming and building, but they are not warriors. How can I marry someone who cannot even defend himself?" "Strength comes in many forms," Vex said. "This human is different. He has been living in our village for 2 years now. He keeps to himself, but he is honest and hardworking. He will treat you well." "But father, what will people say? A Calarian warrior married to a human farmer?" "They will say you chose love over pride," Vex replied. "And that is not a bad thing." That evening, Zara met Ben for the first time. He was waiting in her father's house, sitting quietly at the table. When she entered, he stood up and bowed politely. "Hello," he said in a soft voice. "I am Ben. It is nice to meet you." Zara studied him carefully. He was tall for a human, but still shorter than her. His hair was brown and his eyes were green. He wore simple farmer clothes and looked completely ordinary. There was nothing special about him that she could see. "I am Zara," she said. "I understand we are to be married." "Yes, if you agree to it," Ben said. "I know this must be strange for you. I do not expect you to love me right away. I only hope we can be friends." His voice was calm and gentle. Zara had expected him to be nervous or excited, but he seemed completely at peace. It confused her. "What do you do here?" she asked. "I grow food," Ben said. "I have a small farm outside the village. I grow vegetables and grains. It is quiet work, but I enjoy it. That is all." Ben smiled slightly. "What else would I do? I am just a farmer." During dinner, Zara watched Ben carefully. He ate quietly and spoke only when someone asked him a question. He seemed interested in the village news and asked thoughtful questions about the harvest. He was polite to everyone, even the servants. Zara's mother, Lisa, clearly liked him. She kept asking him questions about his cooking and his garden. Ben answered everything with patience and kindness. "Ben makes the best bread in the village," Lisa said to Zara. He brought us some last week. It was wonderful. You make bread? Zara asked. Among other things, Ben said. I like to cook. It helps me relax. After dinner, Zara walked Ben to the door. The night air was cool and filled with the sound of insects. I know this is difficult for you, Ben said. You are a great warrior, and I am just a farmer. But I promise I will do my best to be a good husband. Why do you want to marry me? Zara asked. You could find a human woman. There are many in the colonies. Ben was quiet for a moment. Your father says you are a woman of honor. That means more to me than anything else. Honor does not make a marriage happy. No, but it makes it real, Ben said. I would rather have an honest marriage with someone who respects duty than a false one with someone who only wants excitement. His words surprised her. She had expected him to talk about love or attraction. Instead, he spoke about honor and duty, things she understood. I will think about what you have said, she told him. That is all I can ask, Ben said. He bowed again and walked away into the darkness. The next few weeks passed slowly. Zara spent time getting to know Ben better. She visited his farm and was surprised by how well he had organized everything. His fields were perfectly straight and his vegetables were healthy and strong. His small house was clean and comfortable. Ben worked hard every day, but he never complained. When Zara asked him about his life on Earth, he said very little. He had come to Caleria 2 years ago looking for a quiet place to live. He had some money saved up and had bought his farm from an old Calarian who was retiring. What did you do before farming? Zara asked one day as they walked through his vegetable garden. Many things, Ben said. I traveled a lot. I worked different jobs. But I always wanted to have a farm of my own. You never wanted to be a soldier? Ben stopped walking and looked at her with serious eyes. War is a terrible thing, Zara. I have seen enough of it to last a lifetime. His words made her curious. How could a simple farmer know about war? But when she asked more questions, Ben always changed the subject. 3 weeks before their wedding, Zara made her decision. Ben was not the husband she had dreamed of, but he was kind and honest. He would treat her well, and maybe that was enough. The wedding preparations began immediately. Lisa threw herself into planning with great excitement. She ordered flowers from 3 different worlds and hired the best cook in the city. The entire village would be invited to celebrate. Ben helped with the preparations, but he seemed uncomfortable with all the attention. He preferred to work in the background, setting up tables and hanging decorations. Zara noticed that he never talked about his own family or friends. When she asked if anyone from Earth would come to the wedding, he said no. I do not stay in touch with many people from my old life, he explained. This is my home now. 2 days before the wedding, Zara found Ben in his house, carefully cleaning an old sword. The weapon was wrapped in plain cloth and looked very ordinary. The metal was dark and showed no decoration at all. What is that? She asked. Ben looked up, startled. He quickly wrapped the sword back up and put it away. Nothing important, he said. Just an old tool. It looked like a weapon. It is very old. I keep it for sentimental reasons. Zara wanted to ask more questions, but Ben's expression told her the subject was closed. She wondered why a farmer would own a sword, even an old one. The wedding day arrived with perfect weather. The morning was bright and warm, with a gentle breeze that carried the smell of flowers through the village. Zara wore her family's traditional wedding armor, polished until it gleamed like silver. Ben wore simple but clean clothes in the human style. The ceremony took place in the village square. Commander Vex performed the marriage rites, speaking the ancient words that bound families together. Ben spoke his vows clearly and looked directly into Zara's eyes as he promised to honor and protect her. When it was time for the traditional wedding feast, the entire village gathered around long tables filled with food. There was roasted meat, fresh bread, and vegetables from Ben's own garden. Everyone was laughing and telling stories. Zara began to relax for the first time in weeks. Maybe this marriage would work after all. Ben was a good man, even if he was not a warrior. Perhaps she had been too focused on strength and not enough on character. The celebration continued into the afternoon. Children ran between the tables playing games while the adults shared stories and jokes. Even Ben seemed to be enjoying himself, though he still spoke softly and mostly listened to others. Then the attack horns began to blow. The sound cut through the celebration like a blade. Every Calarian in the village immediately stopped what they were doing and looked toward the sky. In the distance, dark shapes were descending through the clouds. "Thraken raiders," someone shouted. Panic spread through the crowd instantly. The Thraken were fierce warriors who attacked without warning, taking slaves and destroying everything they could not steal. They had been quiet for months, but now they had found the village. Commander Vex jumped onto a table and shouted orders. "All civilians to the shelters. Warriors, to your positions." Zara ran toward her father's house where her weapons were stored. She had not worn her sword to the wedding, thinking it would be inappropriate. Now she cursed herself for that choice. The Thraken ships landed at the edge of the village with thunderous crashes. Tall, fierce warriors poured out of them, carrying energy weapons and battle axes. They roared their war cries as they charged toward the helpless villagers. The Calarian guards fought bravely, but they were badly outnumbered. Most of the village's warriors were away with the fleet, leaving only old soldiers and young recruits to defend the people. Zara reached her weapons just as the first Thraken warriors broke through the defensive line. She grabbed her sword and shield and ran back toward the battle. She found chaos in the village square. Tables were overturned and food was scattered everywhere. Several houses were already burning. The Thraken were moving methodically through the village, killing anyone who resisted and capturing everyone else. Zara fought her way toward a group of trapped villagers, cutting down 2 Thraken warriors with quick, precise strikes. Her years of military training served her well, but she was only one person against dozens of enemies. "Ben," she called, looking around desperately. "Where is Ben?" She spotted him near the edge of the square, standing perfectly still while chaos raged around him. He was not running or hiding like the other civilians. He was just watching the battle with calm eyes. "Ben! Get to safety!" Zara shouted as she blocked the Thraken axe with her shield. Ben looked at her and shook his head slightly. He walked calmly toward their house while Thraken warriors ran past him, seemingly not noticing he was there. Zara wanted to follow him, but 3 more Thraken surrounded her. She fought them off, but more kept coming. The village guards were falling one by one, and soon she would be fighting alone. That was when Ben returned. He walked back into the square carrying the old sword she had seen him cleaning. It was still wrapped in its plain cloth, looking completely ordinary. Ben moved through the battle like he was taking a casual walk, completely unbothered by the violence around him. "Ben, what are you doing?" Zara called. "Run!" But Ben was not running. He was walking directly toward the largest group of Thraken warriors. They saw him coming and laughed at the soft human with his old weapon. "Look, brothers," one of them called out in the Thraken language. "A human thinks he can fight." They raised their weapons, ready to cut down the foolish farmer. That was when Ben unwrapped his sword. The moment the cloth fell away, everything changed. The weapon in Ben's hands was not ordinary at all. It was made of a metal that seemed to absorb light, with an edge so sharp it looked like it could cut through reality itself. But it was not the sword that made Zara's blood freeze. It was the way Ben moved. The gentle farmer was gone. In his place stood something else entirely. Ben's green eyes had gone cold and focused. His relaxed posture shifted into a perfect fighting stance that Zara recognized from the most advanced military training. The first Thraken warrior swung his axe at Ben's head. Ben moved like flowing water, stepping aside so smoothly it looked like he had never been in danger. His sword flicked out once, so fast Zara almost missed it. The Thraken warrior's axe fell to the ground in 2 pieces. A moment later, so did the warrior. The other Thraken stared in shock. They had never seen anything move that fast. Ben stepped forward, and his sword moved again. 3 more Thraken fell without getting close to touching him. His movements were precise and deadly, with no wasted motion. The surviving Thraken tried to surround him, but it was useless. Ben flowed between their attacks like he could see the future. Every strike he made was perfect. Every step placed him exactly where he needed to be. Within minutes, the entire Thraken raiding party was dead. Ben stood in the center of the destruction, breathing easily. His clothes were not even wrinkled. There was no blood on his sword or his hands. The village square was completely silent except for the crackling of burning houses. Zara stared at her new husband, her mind struggling to understand what she had just witnessed. The quiet farmer who grew vegetables and baked bread had just destroyed an entire Thraken war party without breaking a sweat. Ben looked at her with those same calm green eyes she had grown used to over the past few weeks. But now she saw something else in them. Something that made her realize she did not know her husband at all. "I am sorry you had to see that," he said softly, wrapping his sword back in its cloth. "I had hoped to avoid this kind of thing." "Who are you?" Zara whispered. Ben was quiet for a long moment. Around them, the villagers began to emerge from their hiding places, staring at the human who had saved them all. "I am your husband," Ben said finally. "And I am a man who wants very much to live quietly on his farm." He turned and walked away, leaving Zara standing among the fallen enemies, with 1,000 questions burning in her mind. The quiet farmer had just shaken her world, and she had the feeling this was only the beginning. The next morning, Zara found Ben in his garden, tending to his vegetables as if nothing had happened. The burned houses from yesterday's attack were visible in the distance, but Ben seemed focused only on his plants. He looked up when she approached, giving her the same gentle smile he always wore. "Good morning," he said. "I was just checking the damage from the smoke. Most of the crops should be fine." Zara stared at him. "Ben, we need to talk." "Of course." Ben set down his tools and walked to a small bench under a tree. "I suppose you have questions." "Many questions." Zara sat beside him, still trying to understand what she had witnessed. "Who are you really?" Ben was quiet for a long moment, looking out over his peaceful farm. "I told you the truth. I am a farmer who wants to live quietly. Farmers do not fight like that. I have been a warrior my entire life, and I have never seen anything like what you did yesterday." "I used to be something else," Ben said slowly. "Before I came here. Before I decided to grow vegetables and bake bread." "What were you?" Ben hesitated. "It is better if you do not know. Some secrets are dangerous." Before Zara could respond, they heard the sound of approaching vehicles. A convoy of military transports was heading toward the village, moving fast and kicking up clouds of dust. "That is the Imperial Guard," Zara said, recognizing the markings. "Father must have called them." Ben stood up, and for a moment, Zara saw something flash across his face. It was not fear exactly, but concern. "I should go inside," he said. "Why?" "You saved the village. They will want to thank you." "No," Ben said firmly. "They will want to ask questions I cannot answer." But it was too late. The transports had already reached the farm, and soldiers were jumping out. At their head was General Kresh, the highest-ranking military officer on Caleria Prime. His red scales marked him as a veteran of many battles. "Ben of Earth," General Kresh called out. "I need to speak with you." Ben sighed but did not run. "General. Yesterday, you single-handedly defeated an entire Thraken raiding party," Kresh said, approaching with several guards behind him. "I need to know how." I got lucky, Ben said simply. Lucky? Kresh laughed, but there was no humor in it. I have seen the bodies. Each cut was perfect. Each strike was placed with surgical precision. No one gets that lucky. Zara watched the exchange carefully. She could see tension building in Ben's shoulders, though his face remained calm. I have some training, Ben admitted. What kind of training? Kresh demanded. I have reviewed every human military record we have access to. There is no mention of anyone named Ben with combat abilities. Perhaps your records are incomplete. General Kresh stepped closer. I think you are lying. I think you are not who you claim to be. I am a farmer, Ben said. That is all you need to know. Actually, it is not. Kresh signaled to his guards. You are coming with me for questioning. That was when Ben's demeanor changed. It was subtle, just a shift in his posture, but suddenly he seemed more dangerous. The guards noticed it too and reached for their weapons. I would prefer not to do this, Ben said quietly. Do what? Kresh asked. Disappoint my wife on the second day of our marriage. Before anyone could react, Ben moved. He was not carrying his sword, but he did not need it. His hand struck one guard's wrist, and the soldier's weapon fell uselessly to the ground. He spun and kicked another guard in the chest, sending him flying backward into a transport. In seconds, all 6 guards were on the ground, groaning in pain. Ben had not seriously hurt any of them, but he had made his point very clearly. General Kresh stared in shock. What are you? Ben straightened his shirt and picked up a fallen vegetable from his garden. I am a man who wants to be left alone. I cannot do that, Kresh said. You are too dangerous to ignore. Then we have a problem. Zara stepped between them. General, Ben is my husband. He saved our village. Why are you treating him like a criminal? Because I think he might be one, Kresh replied. Or worse, he might be a weapon that someone else controls. I control myself, Ben said. And I choose to grow vegetables. Kresh pulled out a communication device and spoke into it rapidly. Within minutes, more transports arrived. This time, they carried heavy weapons and battle armor. Ben of Earth, Kresh announced formally, you are under arrest as a potential threat to planetary security. Ben looked at the assembled forces and sighed. Zara, I am sorry about this. I truly hoped it would not be necessary. What are you talking about? Instead of answering, Ben walked calmly toward his house. The soldiers raised their weapons, but Kresh held up a hand to stop them. Let him go. If he runs, we will hunt him down. But Ben was not running. He emerged from the house carrying his wrapped sword and a small communication device of his own. The device looked different from anything Zara had seen before, sleek and silver with no visible markings. Ben activated the device and spoke a single word, Priority 7. The response came immediately in a crisp, professional voice, identity confirmed. Blade Master 7, what is your status? General Kresh went very still. Blade Master 7. Ben looked at him with those calm green eyes. General, I suggest you contact your superiors immediately. Tell them you have found a Terran Blade Master who is trying to retire peacefully. Impossible, Kresh whispered. The Blade Masters are legends. Stories told to frighten enemies. We are quite real, Ben said. And we do not like being disturbed. Kresh activated his own communicator with shaking hands. This is General Kresh. I need an immediate connection to High Command. Emergency priority. While they waited, Zara moved closer to Ben. What is a Terran Blade Master? A mistake, Ben said softly. Something Earth created during the worst of the galactic wars. We were designed to end conflicts quickly and completely. Designed? Trained from childhood. Enhanced. Made into weapons that could walk onto any battlefield and change the outcome. Ben's voice was sad. There are only 12 of us left alive. What happened to the others? Some died in battle. Others chose not to continue living as instruments of war. The communication device crackled to life. A new voice spoke, older and more authoritative. General Kresh, this is Admiral Thex of High Command. What is your situation? Sir, I have encountered a human claiming to be a Terran Blade Master. He has demonstrated impossible combat abilities. There was a long silence. Then, General, you are to withdraw immediately. Do not engage. Do not pursue. Treat this individual with the highest possible respect. Sir, I do not understand. The Blade Masters ended the Centauri War by themselves. All 12 of them together could probably conquer half the galaxy if they chose to do so. We do not threaten them. We do not anger them. We certainly do not arrest them. Kresh looked at Ben with new understanding and considerable fear. Sir, what are your orders? Leave him alone, General. If he wants to grow vegetables on Caleria Prime, then we will make sure he has the best soil in the galaxy. Ben smiled slightly. That is very kind, but unnecessary. I only want to be left in peace. Of course, Admiral Thex said quickly. But sir, may I ask why you revealed yourself? The agreement was that your identities would remain secret. The agreement was broken when Thraken raiders attacked my village, Ben replied. Someone hired them to test whether the rumors about me were true. What rumors? That a Blade Master was living quietly on Caleria Prime. Someone has been spreading that information deliberately. Zara felt a chill run down her spine. You mean the attack yesterday was not random? No, Ben said. It was a test. Someone wanted to see if I would reveal myself to protect innocent people. But who? General Kresh asked. Their answer came in the form of new ships appearing in the sky. These were not Calarian vessels or Thraken raiders. They were sleek, black warships that Zara did not recognize. Ben looked up at them and shook his head. Right on schedule. His communication device activated again. A new voice spoke, harsh and commanding, Blade Master 7, you will surrender yourself immediately or we will destroy the village. And you are? Ben asked calmly. Commander Rex of the Shadow Syndicate. We have been searching for you for 2 years. Zara had heard of the Shadow Syndicate. They were mercenaries and assassins who worked for the highest bidder. But what would they want with Ben? I am retired, Ben said. Retirement is not an option for someone with your abilities, Rex replied. You will work for us, or you will die. Along with everyone in this pathetic little village. I see. Ben unwrapped his sword slowly and deliberately. And if I refuse? Then we start killing people until you change your mind. Ben looked at Zara, and she saw something in his eyes she had never seen before. It was not anger exactly, but something colder and more final. Zara, I need you to get everyone to the shelters. This is going to be much worse than yesterday. I am not leaving you to fight alone. These are not raiders looking for easy targets. These are professional killers who have been planning this for months. Then you need help. Ben was quiet for a moment. Then he handed her a second communication device from his pocket. Press the red button and speak clearly. Tell them Blade Master 7 needs immediate assistance. Who will answer? My brothers. The black ships began landing around the village, disgorging teams of heavily armed soldiers. These were not like the Thraken raiders. They moved with precision and discipline, establishing positions and setting up heavy weapons. Ben walked toward them alone, his sword gleaming in the afternoon sun. Blade Master 7, Commander Rex called out as he emerged from the lead ship. He was a tall, scarred man wearing advanced battle armor. You are outnumbered 50-1. Surrender now and the villagers live. Counteroffer, Ben said. Leave now and you live. Rex laughed. You think one man can defeat my entire force? I think you have made a very serious mistake. That was when Zara pressed the red button. This is Blademaster 7, she said into the device. He needs immediate assistance. The response was immediate, understood. Blademasters 4 and 9 are en route. Estimated arrival, 3 minutes. Rex heard the transmission and his confident smile faded. You called for backup. I called for my family, Ben said. 3 minutes later, 2 more figures descended from the sky using personal flight systems. They landed on either side of Ben, and Zara saw that they carried weapons similar to his. Brother, one of them said. It was a woman with short black hair and scars on her arms. You seem to have attracted some pests. Hello, 4. Hello, 9, Ben said. Thank you for coming. The third Blademaster was a young man who looked barely out of his teens. But his eyes held the same cold focus that Zara had seen in Ben's. 50 soldiers? 9 asked, looking around casually. That seems like overkill for one village. They wanted to make sure I could not escape, Ben explained. Foolish, 4 said. Did they not research what happened the last time someone threatened a Blademaster's home? Apparently not. Commander Rex was backing away toward his ship, but his soldiers had not moved. They were professional enough to hold their positions even when facing impossible odds. Last chance, Ben called out to them. Leave now. You are only 3 people. Rex shouted back. Yes, Ben said sadly. That is your misfortune. What followed was not a battle. It was a demonstration of why the Terran Blademasters were feared across the galaxy. The 3 humans moved like they were dancing together to music only they could hear. Their coordination was perfect, each one knowing exactly where the others would be at every moment. Ben flowed through the enemy soldiers like water flowing around stones. His sword cut through their armor and weapons as if they were made of paper. 4 used twin blades that spun in her hands like silver wheels of death. 9 carried a weapon that seemed to change shape as he fought, becoming whatever tool he needed at each moment. The battle lasted less than 5 minutes. When it was over, the 3 Blademasters stood in the center of a circle of defeated enemies. None of the Shadow Syndicate soldiers were dead, but all of them were thoroughly beaten. Commander Rex was on his knees, his expensive armor cracked and broken. Please, he gasped. We were just following orders. Whose orders? Ben asked. I do not know. The contracts came through intermediaries. Someone wanted you captured alive. For what purpose? To study you. To learn how to create more like you. Ben exchanged glances with his fellow Blademasters. That will not be happening. No, 4 agreed. It will not. 9 was already working with a device that looked like it was erasing data from the enemy ships. Their records are clean. No trace of who hired them. Take your people and leave, Ben told Rex. If I see any of you again, I will not be so merciful. The Shadow Syndicate soldiers limped back to their ships and departed quickly. Within minutes, the village was quiet again. Blademasters 4 and 9 approached Ben. Will you be safe here? 4 asked. I think so. Word will spread about what happened today. Others will think twice before testing me. And if they do not? Ben looked at Zara, who was watching from a safe distance. Then I will deal with them. But I hope it will not be necessary. We hope so too, brother, 9 said. Take care of yourself. The 2 Blademasters activated their flight systems and disappeared into the sky, leaving Ben alone with his wife and the shocked villagers. General Kresh approached cautiously. Blademaster 7, on behalf of the Calarian Empire, I apologize for our earlier behavior. There is no need, Ben said. You were doing your job. Is there anything we can do for you? Ben smiled and picked up his gardening tools from where he had dropped them. You can help me replant these vegetables that got trampled in the fight. That evening, Ben and Zara sat together on their porch, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and purple. The village was quiet and peaceful again, with only the sound of insects singing in the growing darkness. "So," Zara said finally, "I married one of the most dangerous humans in the galaxy." "You married a farmer who wants to grow vegetables," Ben corrected gently. "A farmer who can defeat 50 professional soldiers without breaking a sweat. The two things are not mutually exclusive." Zara leaned against his shoulder. "Will there be more attacks?" "Probably not. Today's demonstration should discourage most people from testing me again." "And if it does not?" Ben was quiet for a moment. "Then I will protect my home and my family, whatever the cost." "Our family," Zara corrected. "Our family," Ben agreed, putting his arm around her. As the stars appeared overhead, Zara realized that her quiet farmer husband was exactly who he claimed to be. He was a man who wanted to live peacefully, tend his garden, and bake bread for his neighbors. The fact that he was also one of the most lethal warriors in the galaxy was simply another facet of the man she had married. And somehow, that made her love him even more. "Ben," she said. "Yes." "Tomorrow, will you teach me how to make bread?" Ben smiled, the same gentle smile she had fallen in love with. "I would be honored to." The legend of the quiet human who shook the world with his sword would spread throughout the galaxy. But for now, he was just a farmer sitting with his wife, planning tomorrow's work in their peaceful garden. And that was exactly how Ben preferred it.